I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're delighted to welcome back one of my favorite guests, Asa Dunnington. He has written a spectacular book. It is called Selectively Lawless, the true story of Emmett Long, an American original. This gripping book takes us into the tumultuous world of the early 20th century, where the lines between right and wrong were often blurred. Through the life of Emmett Long, a notorious figure who transformed from a bank robber and a moonshiner into a respected rancher, this author offers us a unique perspective on redemption and the American spirit. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel. That's very important. But also important, purchasing his wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Asa, great to see you here this morning on Spotlight.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
The story, it's great to see you, my friend. Emmett Long is more than just a character out of history. For you, he's a relative. So why don't you tell a little bit about the story of Emmett Long for the folks who haven't heard it yet?
Emmett was actually my wife's uncle. And he was, because of his lifestyle at the time, he was the black sheep of the family. And in 1969, when he was 65 years old, I met him for the first time. He had a motel in Cuesta, New Mexico, and he invited us for vacationing up there. And when we met, we just connected. He knew I had a writing background. I think at his age, he was looking for somebody to write his life story. So we spent an entire week shoulder to shoulder. Anything he did, I was with him. And in that period of time, he shared his entire life story with me. But we couldn't write it until Emmett died because he killed 4 people.
Amazing, amazing. So this book, in many ways, for you, has been a half century in the making from that conversation back in 1969.
Absolutely.
Now, he had really turned his life around. Let's start with the early part of his life. What led him down the wrong path, and what kind of criminality did he get involved with?
He was the son of a sharecropper and a lay minister. His father had 8 children, and he took the family around southwest Oklahoma, picking cotton, building fences. When Emmett was 14 years old, he was in Texas picking cotton with the family. And he told his brother and sister, "I'm never picking cotton again." And he walked off the cotton field. He said, "When I come back, I'll have a pocket full of money and a new car." So he went to a cousin that he knew of who was pretty sharp at cards. He spent 2 weeks with her, and he became good enough in those 2 weeks that she couldn't beat him at cards. So he took that skill on the road. He left Oklahoma and he went all the way across the country to Arizona, stopping at ranches, making money by playing poker with the ranch hands. And when he had cleaned them out, he moved on to the next one. He got to California and decided that the way to make money up north was to go up to Seattle and get involved in the lumber trade as a barber. Went to Seattle, went to a barber school, and from then on for the next 18 months, he was cutting hair in the day, playing poker at night. So 18 months later, he got back to his family with $18,000
Hmm.
and a brand new Buick Roadster.
So he lived up to that promise that I'm not picking cotton anymore. I'm coming back with money in my fist and a brand new car. But
Yes.
that was just the beginning in a way. I mean, playing poker is relatively harmless. He dug himself in a little bit deeper than that along the way, right?
He used that $18,000 to start a bootlegging operation.
Hmm.
And he knew he had to be uh, able to function without interference from the local law. And where they lived in Oklahoma at the time was the Comanche headquarters.
Hmm.
And Emmett would pay the Comanches $1 a piece to vote for his sheriff.
Hmm.
So he controlled the local law for about 8 years.
Amazing, amazing. And he's doing what a lot of what is done in the country right now. They're taking Indian reservations and the fact that they're self-governed in a way and using them for their own ends. I mean, we see a lot of Indian casinos, for example, in this country that are run by big corporations that have nothing to do with Native Americans. So he started his bootlegging business, but as you mentioned, along the way, he was a bit of a gunslinger as well, right?
Well, yes, he would. He was a good friend of Pretty Boy Floyd,
Yeah.
and Pretty Boy Floyd told him, basically counseled him on how to rob banks.
Mm.
And so Emmett took that skill into Texas, and one Saturday night robbed a bank. It was closed, but his men broke in and they took the big heavy safe out of the building, and they were in the process of putting it into a pickup when the local movie house let out.
Mm.
And so now they're surrounded by people that were watching the movie. But I guess during the Depression, the way people felt about banks, several of those people offered to help them put that safe in the truck.
Amazing, amazing. And that's at the root of it all, is that there
Yeah,
was such poverty and despair in that era that people like Pretty Boy Floyd were looked up to because they were thumbing their nose at the system, thumbing their nose at big banks, thumbing their nose at people who had money when people could barely scrape together the pennies they needed to go catch a motion picture, right?
right. And Floyd had taught Emmett the way to endear himself to the people was to rob the bank, take the mortgages, and burn
Amazing.
them.
I'd welcome that today. I think most people would burn my mortgage. That sounds great.
You bet.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, so he did kill 4 men. What was his
Yes.
conversation like when you spoke to him about that?
Well, at that time, he had converted,
Hmm.
and he told me he knew that he wasn't going to be forgiven because there's no statute of limitations on murder.
Hmm.
And that's why he cautioned me not to tell the story, publish the story until he passed away.
Yeah.
But of the 4 people that he killed, I would say 2 of them were legitimate
Hmm.
self-defense.
Right.
But the other 2 were innocent people that he regretted killing.
Yeah. And they were killed during the course of a robbery or something?
Well, the one man that he killed was a park ranger. Emmett and his buddy were dynamiting a pond, which is how you purify the water for making booze. And this young park ranger came upon him, and they killed him.
Oh, that is tragic. That is tragic.
Right.
Yeah. But he did turn his life around and became a respected rancher, as I mentioned in the beginning. What was it that got him on the straight and narrow again?
Marriage.
That'll do it. Every good man needs a good woman to keep him on the straight and narrow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to, as a successful rancher in this little town of Cache, Oklahoma, he provided entertainment for the local people by putting on rodeos. And there was this pretty young lady from Texas that came up to participate as a barrel racer. And he fell in love with her, courted her, and married her. And then that changed him somewhat, but when he became a father, he really changed.
Yeah.
I mean, he was truly born again at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, all the things that will put you on a good path, a marriage and a child and family. It's what he needed to settle down, to calm down, and live a respectable life. There's movies like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and movies about Pretty Boy Floyd for sure, and Alias Smith and Jones was a big series back in the 1970s, if you recall.
Right.
Don't you think Emmett Long's story would be a terrific movie?
It really would. There's a link to this current movie, Killers of the Flower Moon. Emmett got caught by the federal law, and was sent to Leavenworth Federal Prison in Kansas. He was in his early 20s. And at that time, there was also a character there by the name of William Hale. William Hale is the one they call the Osage Killer, and that was the featured character in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
Anyway, when Emmett got there, Hale had his enforcer. He was kind of the king of the hill in that prison. And he sent his enforcer over to test Emmett physically. Emmett was 6'1", 215 pounds, and solid as a rock. And this guy took a punch at him. He missed, and Emmett hit him, broke his jaw, and knocked him on his butt.
Wow.
And William Hale took note of that.
Yeah.
So from then on, Hale and Emmett were tight, I guess you could say.
Yeah. If you're going to throw a punch, what's that?
Well, just finish that story.
Sure.
Emmett helped Hale get 7 prisoners out of Leavenworth. Helped them escape.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, this has movie written all over it. I mean, you could start with him working the fields as a respectable rancher, and then maybe even him having a conversation with you, coming in to visit, and going through the story that way.
Right.
And then flashing back to, his early days of making that promise that he wasn't going to pick cotton anymore, and he was going to come back with a fistful of cash and a new car, and $18,000 in that day. I would think it'd be like coming back with 1.8 million today, right?
That's a lot of money. Yeah.
That's a lot of money. It's still a lot of money, $18,000.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So Hollywood, take note. This would be a great, great movie. Well, I'm sorry, my friend, you were saying something.
Here's the movie hook, though, Logan. In 1966, Emmett got a call from Benny Binion, who owned the Horseshoe Club in Las Vegas.
Mhm.
They were old buddies. And Benny told Emmett, the mob's getting ready to open this casino, which was Caesar's Palace. I think we can rip it off. And so Emmett followed up on that. When he checked into the opening week, he checked into Caesar's Palace and he went down and gambled at night. First night there, he won 25,000.
Hmm.
He wore trifocal glasses and marked something he put with something he put in his hair.
Hmm.
And he was there for 2 weeks. They knew they were getting ripped off by some Oklahoma cowboy, but they didn't know how.
Hmm.
And in 2 weeks, Emmett had accumulated $500,000. And he knew they wouldn't let him leave with the money.
Hmm.
But he got it out of there. And that's when you have to read the book or
Exactly.
watch the movie.
Exactly, exactly. And that's great. I mean, also you could start there. This old cowhand walks into a fancy brand new casino in 1966 in Las Vegas and starts winning hand after hand. And, you know, somebody's like, who the hell is this guy? And somebody knows the story of Emmett Long and goes and tells it. I think it's a terrific story, and I hope it does get made into a movie. And if it does, promise me this, I can go to the premiere with you. I'll be part of your entourage, okay?
Oh, you bet.
Okay.
I'm going to have a big family reunion plus Logan.
All right. That sounds great. Well, you're the man from Logan, so that only makes sense, right?
Okay,
For sure. Well, Asa Dunnington has written a terrific book. It is really a page turner. It is a nonfiction story, but it reads like a novel. It's that compelling. It's called Selectively Lawless, the true story of Emmett Long, an American original. And it'll take you back to a time that you've only vaguely heard about, perhaps, but this book makes it very, very real. He became a notorious figure who transformed from a bank robber and moonshiner into a respected rancher. But from that beginning till the end, it's an amazing journey, and you won't want to miss a bit of it. Asa, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
It's been my pleasure. And I hope I can send that invitation to you soon.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to be on that red carpet with you. We'll do the interviews together. That sounds great. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time. This time, until next time on Spotlight. And perhaps Asa will have a role for me in that movie. That would be great. Maybe I could play Pretty Boy Floyd's very tall younger brother. I don't know, something like that.